Hello and welcome to my 2022 bullet journal setup video. Not only is this my first ever journaling video, this is also my first YouTube video. So hello, my name is Kaylee. I'm so happy you're here. My channel will consist mostly of journaling videos, bookish videos, lifestyle, you name it, and it could be here. I like a bit of everything. This is my third year to bullet journal, which is kind of insane. It feels like I've been doing it for much longer, as well as only like 2 months at the same time. So this is the first time I've ever used an Archer and Olive notebook as well, and it has a cute little teapot design. I also went for a B5 size, which took some getting used to. It's quite a bit larger than A5, and I'm really excited to have more room for creativity in my weekly spreads. This setup was heavily inspired by Elizabeth from Plant-Based Bride's 2021 setup video. I just mostly kind of changed around the colors and the spreads that I chose to use. Also, this was my first time ever naming my bullet journal. I know a lot of individuals choose to name theirs, but I never really saw the point, but I figured I'd give it a go this year, and I think it's just fun. So I went with Flora because it kind of represents like blooming and the new year, and I mean, I hope to grow into myself this year. So inside of the paper flap that I glued into the front cover, I am making my grid spacing cheat sheet. I'm the first person to admit I don't hardly use this later on, but I do find it really helpful at the beginning just to memorize my horizontal and vertical dot spacing. And with this particular design, where how it flips outside of the notebook, it's helpful later on when you're setting up future spreads to have this open and still be able to work on what you're doing and reference it just at a glance instead of having to flip all the way back to the front of your notebook. I also want to try a grid spacing bookmark. I've seen a few people do that, so I'm planning to do that in my book journal or my reading journal, which that video should be coming soon as well. I also wanted to mention that I will link Elizabeth's video in the description, as well as all of the supplies that I am using in this video. Here I'm just doing a little like leafy doodle, I don't know, it's not really flowery, but it's cute. I'm not the best doodler, but I tried. And here I messed up the Y. Kind of painful, but it's fine. So this is my key. I'm pretty familiar with it now, but I do find myself referencing it for those symbols I don't use very often, such as the event and appointment symbols. Is it a triangle? Is it a circle? I don't know until I check. But I highly recommend, if this is your first time bullet journaling, find a key, try it out. You might decide to change things up later, and that's okay. I did not stick with the very first key that I used, and I even changed it up like during this past semester, I think. Moving over to the right side, I am just adding a little bit more of the doodles with those circles, which I also forgot to mention. I used my sister's Cricut to cut out the letters for Flora, as well as all of the circles and the 2022, which you will see in the next spread. It made my life so much easier, and if you have access to a Cricut or any other sort of paper cutting devices, use it. On the next spread, it's kind of the 2022 title page, if you will. I just taped in the 2022, which I chose, my color scheme, I just chose greens. It's really what I've been loving this past year, and last year I made the mistake of choosing colors that just I wasn't really inspired by, and I never wanted to look back on them. Like, I actually tried to recreate Elizabeth's setup last year, which if you want to see a 2021, and a 2020 bullet journal flip through, I can do that. Just let me know in the comments, please. But I've decided I really needed to choose a color palette this time that I felt very inspired by, and I've really, really been loving greens. So for the quote that I went with, I found it on Pinterest, as I find all of my quotes, and I went with, "There are far better things ahead than any we leave behind," by C.S. Lewis. Or so Pinterest says. I did not do my fact checking. This is kind of a long clip of stamping. I apologize. Speaking of, this is my first video. The filming's not great. There are times where it cuts out because my phone ran out of storage, which I was filming on. But I already have a plan for the next one of ways I can make the filming process better and therefore produce a better video at the end. So bear with me on this one. After I do these little dots, it will cut out, but I added some washi tape to the top and the bottom just to add a little bit more dimension and interest. The next spread is my future log. I've never actually made a future log, I believe. I've always made like a yearly calendar outlook, but never enough space to like write down appointments and things for later dates. But I figured with the bigger journal size, I would try it out. So I found these stickers on Etsy. I downloaded the digital file and printed them out on some sticker paper. And I made sure I found Monday start ones because I start my weeks on Monday mentally. These will also be linked in the description in case you're interested. It was so much easier to do this than write out each little number. And on to the next spread. This is the final spread of this setup video, and it is a wishlist spread. I don't like to use a lot of spreads in the beginning. I'm not likely to look at them again, and I'm not one to really track my habits or like my period in my journal. I have an app for that. So I did this last year. I made a wish list spread last year, and I think it was really helpful when it came to my birthday and Christmas to be able to actually tell people things that I had been wanting, but I just didn't want to buy for myself. It's also helpful for me to kind of keep to goals instead of just, spending all of my money at the Target dollar section, which I'm still likely to do. But if I write down things that I'm wanting that I can work towards, it's a good reminder to maybe not buy that random $3 flower piece from the Target dollar section and instead save it for something else later. And the video cuts out again, but now we're on to the final flip through. If you've made it this far, I'm so thankful that you've watched all this way through. I hope you like the setup. I'm really pleased with it. I've never finished a setup and been this happy with the outcome. And I can't wait to set up my reading journal and make other videos for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and sitting through these terribly shaky close-up shots. I have a plan for those in the future as well. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!